thank you for clicking in today for ETBU Extra on the ETBU Sports Net. Now time to talk Lady Tiger basketball with the head coach of the Lady Tigers, Edsel Hamilton. And Coach Hamilton, before we talk about last Thursday and Saturday's game, I want to mention some news that happened from the American Southwest Conference. One of your players named the Player of the Week. Of course, we've already seen April Linder get that honor during the week, but now finally someone has recognized that Taylor Alexander is doing a fine job for the Lady Tigers. Talk about her play, those two games, and allowed the conference to name her as Player of the Week. Well, let me turn your microphone on. That's broadcasting 101. Turn the guest microphone on when he sits down. All right, Coach.
Okay. Well, I honestly thought there were a couple of weeks earlier in the year where I thought she should have gotten it, especially based on looking at who did get it and, kind of her numbers versus their numbers and, the results of the games and stuff like that. So I feel like it's been long overdue. She's one of the best post players in the league and only a sophomore. So I think, next year and the year after, I think she's got a chance to be the dominant post player in the league. And, she's really improved a lot since the beginning of the year. I think her, I told her in film 2 days ago that her post game has really improved. At the beginning of the year, she really had one move that she would do over and over again. And, that's still her favorite move, and that's fine. Every post player's got a favorite move, but she's really expanded her post game where she's comfortable going to both hands on the block, and she's a really good mid-range shooter. And then defensively, that stuff gets overlooked a lot, especially when you're, in these Player of the Week stuff. It usually comes down to offensive stats and things like that. But, she's one of the league leaders in blocks. But even beyond that, she just cleans up so much for us around the rim. She really protects the paint. She's really good at keeping people in front of her and helping her teammates out when they get beat off the dribble. And she's really, really improved her rebounding, too. And a lot of it's just a matter of just being consistent about going to the boards, and she's really done that. And it's paid off with the double-doubles this past week.
Speaking of her rebounds, she averaged 12 rebounds per game in the 1-1-1 loss last week, which allowed her to get those numbers that the conference took note of. She also averaged 15 points per game in those games between UT Dallas and the Ozarks. When you tell a player that they need to develop, that's really on them, right? Because you're at the level, college level, that a coach just can't baby a player. Right. They've got to have that inside drive to go and prove that. And so it must be good as a coach to see Taylor take that challenge from you and work on her game, because I've noticed it as well, because I saw her as a freshman last year, saw her at the beginning of the year, and wow, lately she's been tearing up rebounds and hitting the points and doing what she needs to do for the Tigers.
Yeah, because we do skill drills in practice every day for both of our posts. Doing post moves around the basket, but also shooting, and with our guards doing stuff off the dribble and shooting as well too. So it's on them to either not go through the motions and just kind of do it, just to be doing it and do the same move over and over again, versus trying stuff out and really trying to work when we're doing those drills that, okay, here's what I need to get better at. And she really does that. I mean, she works on doing different stuff every day in our drills, and that's where it shows. She's gotten more comfortable during the games of doing stuff that she does in practice.
So congratulations once again to sophomore Taylor Alexander of the Lady Tigers, named the American Southwest Conference East Division Player of the Week. Coach Hamilton, let's talk about the games last week. Let's pick up first with the Thursday game, which you beat UT Dallas by a final score of 59-26. Kind of interesting game because you're tied 22-22 at the half, tied after 3 quarters of play, 38-38, but you end up with the win, 59-56.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
I wasn't going to mention the 2 points in the second quarter.
Yeah, I was about to say, it was pretty amazing that we scored 2 points in a quarter and we're still tied at halftime. So I guess that's a testament to our defense, that we did a pretty good job of guarding them in the first half. But, we got into a stretch there where we didn't execute well at all. We just kind of got sloppy with, setting up cuts and setting screens and things like that. And, we weren't getting the same kind of looks that we got in the first quarter. So in the third and fourth quarter, we really cleaned that up a lot. We were able to run some plays and score, or at least get really good looks off of them. And, then our defense tightened up. We let their post players score a little bit, but we really shut their guards down. I don't think their guards had anybody that really scored very much on us. So we really did a good job of not only limiting their good looks at the basket, but also keeping them out of the paint and things like that. But we really showed a lot of toughness late in that game when things were tight, especially against a team like that where you've got some history of this team beats us all the time. So it would have been really easy to kind of shut down and say, well, they're just going to beat us again because things aren't going our way. But we really showed some toughness to keep fighting through and to pull out the win in that game.
Well, as a fan of the game and seeing the Tigers only scored 2 points in that second quarter, I wonder what a coach thinks when a team only scores 2 points in a college basketball game in a quarter.
Yeah, I mean, some of them it seemed like there was just kind of a lid on the rim. And there were a couple of plays I thought that would have kind of got us going and got us some momentum. We had a couple that got called for charges that, if the call went the other way, they would have been and ones. For both Lauren and Taylor made good aggressive moves driving to the basket from the high post. And, if those calls go the other way, then, it gets a little bit momentum, get us fired up, especially with Lauren, because she's not really somebody who puts the ball on the floor very much, and she went aggressive, put the ball in her left hand and drove to the basket and took it up strong, and that got our team fired up. And then, get called for a charge, and it kind of deflated everybody a little bit. So that could have changed things a little bit. But like I said, our execution just wasn't very clean, and that's why we weren't getting the same kind of looks that we got in the first quarter. So we made some adjustments at halftime and fixed that, and that's why we were able to score a little more in the second half.
So thank you to the basketball rules makers for putting a halftime into the game so you can make those types of adjustments. So the Tigers win Thursday against UT Dallas 59-56, and then you come to the Saturday game against the University of Ozarks. Unfortunately, the Lady Tigers lose 58-54 to move their conference record in the East to 5-3 and 12-5 on the year. You got the point totals from Alexander with 15, Lee with 12, and Morgan Garrett came off the bench with 8, but you just couldn't get that edge on the Ozarks, could you?
Yeah, we really had a hard time shooting the ball. I think that really kind of killed us late in the game. And we started the game off really well. We passed the ball well. We got out and ran. We forced some turnovers in the open court. We guarded them pretty well. We did a lot of really good things early. And, in the second half, they really just started packing it in and just sitting everybody down in the paint and just leaving people open. And that was kind of what happened in the Sol Ross game, too. And, it was like, you're going to have open looks. So you either got to knock them down with confidence or try to get close to the basket, and especially with how well our post players were playing. I think they were either 7 or 8 for 10 combined in the first half. I mean, they just couldn't do anything with them. So, but, we kind of stopped going in there. I think we had some opportunities when we saw their numbers and had a chance to throw it to them, and we didn't. But also, we had lanes to drive because, they were just kind of backing up when we started driving at them, but we just weren't doing it very often. We just started settling for threes, and I think we ended up like 3 for 21 from 3 or something like that. So if we make 2 of those, we win the game. If we go 5 for 21, which still isn't good, but if we make 2 more of those, we win. We missed a lot of free throws in that game, and, if we make 4 more of those, we're tied. So, it was just one of those days where we didn't have a good shooting game. But we really hurt ourselves in the first half with hustle plays. Like we gave up a ton of offensive boards in the first half, and that just, honestly, that just kind of killed us. We had at least 2 or 3 balls that just bounced in between 3 of our players, and they went and ran and got it, and we just kind of stood there and watched. So, the same kind of toughness that we showed Thursday night against Dallas, we just didn't really have the same kind of intensity that we did in that game. We did late in the game, I think. We had at least a few possessions where we seemed like there was a lid on the basket. We got 4 or 5 offensive rebounds in a row and kept trying to put it up, and it just wouldn't go in. But we dug ourselves a hole. Like we should have, we weren't behind at halftime, but we should have been ahead by a whole lot more if we had not made those kind of plays and given them second chance points.
What do you hope that your team takes away from a game like you had against the University of Ozarks?
Well, the 3 words that I've really been saying over and over and over again is sense of urgency. Sense of urgency every time we're on the court in practice, every drill that we do. And that carries over into the game, too. Like, every possession matters. Every loose ball matters. And, you got to have the mentality of, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get that ball. I'm not letting the other team get that ball. Or, my man's in front of me. I'm not letting them score. I'm going to do my job to not let them score. If I've got an open shot, I'm going to shoot it with confidence. Or if I've got somebody that's got a better shot than me, I'm going to give them the ball. But just having the sense of urgency and not having the mentality of, we're okay. It's going to be okay. We'll figure it out later. Of every possession of doing it right, and I think we've really been stressing that in practice, and we really had a pretty good practice yesterday. So hopefully they'll continue to carry that over into this game Thursday night.
Visiting with Edsel Hamilton, the head coach of the Lady Tigers here on ETBU Extra. And Coach, let's move on to the games this week. As I look at the conference standings in the East, Texas Tyler at the top 9-0, Laterno 7-2, then the Tigers at 5-3. The good thing is you got Laterno and Texas Tyler. You got a chance to move up the standings with wins at home.
Yeah, we do. We have a chance to make up some ground. Laterno's only 2 conference losses so far have been to Tyler, so nobody else in the conference has been able to beat them so far. We got to see them in person when we were down in Seguin playing at the Texas Lutheran Classic over Thanksgiving. So girls have gotten to see them, and obviously they're a local rivalry, so the girls have a pretty good idea of kind of what they do and what they're good at. They're very athletic. They play really hard. They get up and down the floor a lot, and they're gonna be tough for us. But like you said, this is a chance to these division games are basically like worth 2 wins. So if we're able to beat them Thursday night, then we'll move into a tie with them in the standings, and because that's what we're shooting for right now, is just try to keep moving up in the standings, see if we can kind of clinch that second place. Because right now, like if even if we beat Tyler twice and went out, somebody else would have to beat them for us to tie with them for a championship. So we got to take care of the people in front of us, try to get ourselves into second, and that way, position yourselves to be the best possible spot for the conference tournament.
So I see how your philosophy of urgency right now for your team,
Yep.
and he's how that plays out these next 2 ball games. What do you expect first from Laterno Thursday night?
So they're really athletic. They've got their best player is Crystal Jones, is one of the leading scorers in the league. She can really score. She can get her shot off anytime she wants, and it's not that she's a high volume scorer in the sense that she takes 25 shots a game and shoots 35%. She shoots 45% and she shoots 39% from 3. So she's very efficient. It's rare for there to be a player that shoots as many jump shots as she does that's as consistent with putting them in as she is. So she's going to be really tough for us to guard. Like I said, across the board, they're athletic. They get up and down. But I think we're similar to them in athleticism, but I think we're a little bigger than them. So hopefully we'll be able to get the ball inside like we did against Ozarks in the first half and be able to take that advantage there.
Looking forward to a great game Thursday night against Laterno. Tip-off at 5:30 right here on the ETBU Sportsnet. And then Saturday you host one of the top 5 teams in the nation right now in UT Tyler. They're good, right?
They're really good. They're really good. I think they've lost 1 game this year, and it was a close one. But in conference games, they've had a couple of close ones, but their margin of victory in conference is 18 plus or something like that. They've just been killing everybody. So, we'll sit down and watch some film, I think, today, tomorrow, and Friday to really kind of take a look at the teams that have played them close and kind of see what they did. I know UMHB was ahead with 5 minutes to go. Said Austin College beat them. Laterno played them relatively close. So those kind of games we'll look at and kind of see what those teams were doing to be successful with them. No team is unbeatable. So we just got to go with the mindset of we have absolutely nothing to lose. If they win, they're supposed to win. So it doesn't hurt us at all if we lose that game. But why not make something crazy happen?
That's right. And that's exactly what we're expecting because we got a sense of urgency the next 2 games. Well, Coach Hamilton, thank you for your time here today on ETB Extra.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, coming up next, we'll be talking with one of his players, Samantha Busby. She will be our guest next on ETB Extra. Of course, I've already said this. The Tigers have 2 home games left in the month of January. Thursday against Laterno. Ladies tip-off at 5:30, men at 7:30. And then on Saturday, both teams host UT Tyler. 1 p.m. tip-off for the ladies, 3 p.m. tip-off for the men. Please, if you're in Marshall, Texas, come out Thursday and Saturday and see 2 fine American Southwest Conference teams play basketball. Well, coming up next on ETBU Extra, we'll talk with Samantha Busby. Don't go away. She's next on ETBU Extra.